1, 2, 3, 4.
It worked. Good evening, everyone. I see as everyone is getting settled. Oh, look at everyone in your fancy top hats. I think you need to give yourselves a round of applause just for wearing hats that are all that. Welcome, everyone, to the 25th anniversary gala of the QWF Quebec Writers Federation. Yay! So my name is Tauhida Tanya Evanson, and I've been a member of QWF now for about 10 years since I moved back to Jojage, Montreal from Vancouver. And I'm currently serving my first year as Presidente of the QWF. That's right, a great honor. But of course, before we begin anything, we give thanks. We give thanks and we remember. We give thanks for the land we live on and for the waters that surround us. And we remember that Jojage, Montreal, the land upon which QWF has made its home, has been a gathering place for millennia and still remains the unceded territory of the Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk people and other First Nations. We recognize the stories and ongoing oral practices of the Indigenous peoples of this land, which inform our work, all of our work as writers and literary artists. We remember that we, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, settlers, immigrants, and people brought here against their will, live in this country together. We must never forget our experiences and roles and those of our ancestors in colonization and subsequent injustices. We must strive to live alongside one another in peace, mutual respect, and as allies to steward the land and waters that sustain us. May we walk gently and respectfully on these lands and commit to investing QWF resources and efforts towards this goal in friendship, esteem, and in the pursuit of justice and equality. And now we can begin tonight's 25th anniversary celebrations. So in honor of this silver anniversary, QWF established Writing Matters, which is also kind of the title of this, as you can see over here. Repeat after me.
Writing matters.
Are you asleep?
Writing matters.
You're still sleeping?
Writing matters.
Starting to wake up. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. So the QWF established the Writing Matters campaign to celebrate writers' contributions to society, not just in literature, but in the success of businesses, nonprofits, governments, and more. This year, QWF also held anniversary celebrations for our executive director, Laurie Schubert. We threw her a surprise party. She was really surprised. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. Laurie has been executive director of QWF for 20 years. And isn't it wonderful when you're celebrated while you're alive? It's true, we don't always do that, and sometimes we don't even get a chance to do that. And if we get that chance, we take it. So we were very lucky to be able to have that chance and have that celebration for Laurie. We also reached our highest number of members this year, so it's almost 900. It's actually 885, so I hope that there's more people who will sign up and become members after tonight's gala. There's a pay what you can option. You could actually be a member for free. Check the options on the website, people. Those options are there. So another thing that QWF did in February is that board members and staff we had our first ever QWF Day retreat, and which was really great because we got to spend time together. All the board members and staff got to spend time together and talk together and kind of decide what the direction of QWF would be in the next years. So it was also our first kind of post-COVID gathering. And that was really important to gather like we are here tonight because we are a village. And the village is the essence of love and humanity wherever you go in the world. And we create our own village here. That's right. Let's see, what else? So we have wonderful projects in store for you, is what came out of that retreat, just so you know. Wait and see. Projects are coming. More projects are coming. Something else we did this year, we partnered with Font magazine on their February issue and hosted our first Crime Writers of Canada meetup. Author Heather O'Neill spent August in Dublin, Ireland. Cheers. As a recipient of the Max Margulies writing residency. And the Shut Up and Write sessions also made their in-person return post-COVID. It's taken a long time, this post-COVID action. But may we actually be able to gather forever without any of these complications that little viruses pose. Finally, in online news, 2 massive site overhauls at QWF. One was hireawriter.ca. Check it out if you want to hire a writer for your manuscript purposes, sensitivity readers, editorial purposes. Hireawriter.ca. Check it. And then the literary database of Quebec English language authors. So this is an expanding directory of over 2,300 books by over 1,300 Quebec writers. And I'd like to call John Wickham. John? Dr. John, are you in the house? I'd like to call Dr. John, QWF's Communication Officer Extraordinary, to the stage to give you a preview of the new QWF Literary Database. John, take it.
Thank you, Tanya. The Quebec Books Literary Database was launched in 2006 as part of the celebration of Montreal being named UNESCO's World Book Capital of the Year. Since then, it has grown to an archive of nearly 2,500 books and almost 1,500 Quebec authors. Now, almost 20 years later, we're delighted to announce that we've completed a complete redesign of the website, building it back up from the bottom to make it easier to use, search, and navigate to explore all those books that you want to see. What's more, it contains several new features to expand its utility. One we're most excited about is collections, which allow us to create curated lists of books, be they by genre, subject, types of authors, etc. That's going to allow us to highlight newly published books by Quebec authors, books by authors from particular regions of Quebec, such as the townships or Quebec City, or simply seminal books that form an integral part of Quebec's literary history. With this new website, we hope to make the database not just an archive of books, but also a platform to showcase the brilliance and vibrancy of Quebec literature, and perhaps to give you some inspiration for what you're going to read next. I want to thank Sasha and Melissa from EndoCode, who made this project possible. Without their stewardship of the whole project, wouldn't have been possible, as well as Le Conseil des Arts et des Lettres du Québec for funding the project. If you get a chance tonight, take a look at the website on your phone. Maybe you're at the bar or there's some downtime. It's just quebecbooks.qwf.org. I hope you'll be as delighted with the website as we are. Thank you very much. Oh, and one other note that Laurie asked me to mention. If you happen to be an author that you think may be in the Quebec Books database, check your bio and our listings for your books to make sure they're up to date. And if you need to update your bio, you can contact us through the website as well. Thank you very much and enjoy the evening.
Wow. I said wow, you need to repeat. Wow! Wow! It's a pretty cool database. Come on, QWF does so many wonderful things. Programs, residencies, services, funds, publications, series, events, prizes, online resources. All of it with an outstanding team, right? Laurie Schubert, Executive Director. That's right! Give it up! And John Wickham, who just spoke, our Communications Officer. Riley Palanka, our Membership Services Coordinator. And a stellar board of 15 directors. So QWF, hats off to you. I'm not taking my hat off, though, because I'm not supposed to, apparently, because it's that kind of party. We've got to keep it on. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, just let's do it right. Keep it on. So before introducing our host for tonight, I would like to share our Safer Spaces policy. So the QWF is proudly dedicated to working toward a safe, respectful, inclusive environment for everyone. We will not tolerate any behavior that is predatory, harassing, or hateful. No participant at a QWF event should ever be made to feel physically or psychologically unsafe, intimidated, or harassed. So please look out for each other. And if you need support tonight, feel free to talk to one of the active listeners wearing yellow badges who are here for you. They are Rachel McCrum. Can you raise your hand, Rachel, wherever you are in the room? Where are you? So we have Rachel McCrum, lovely Rachel there, thank you, with a green feather hat. And then also Afrina Noor. Afrina, can you raise your hand as well? Wait, in the back, she's in the back in a green dress. So, and also anyone can read the full policy on the QWF website, which includes the reporting process. So thank you very much for that. And now, without further ado, I will ask tonight's 25th anniversary gala host, who's waiting backstage, to wait a little bit longer because I must introduce them. And their full bio, which is 5 pages. Just kidding. So, tonight we are blessed to have QWF co-founder, writer, documentary filmmaker, Guy Rex Rogers. Now, Guy is a graduate of the playwriting program at the National Theatre School of Canada, and he's worked in film, television, and specialized in writing large-scale multimedia productions for museums across Canada, the US, Europe, and the Middle East since the 1980s. He performs music as a guitarist, most recently as part of Tim Brady's 100 Guitars project. A longtime arts activist, Guy was co-founder of the Quebec Drama Federation, QDF, and the Quebec Writers Federation, was a member of the founding board of the CALQ, Le Conseil des Arts et Lettres du Québec, and founding executive director of ELAN, the English Language Arts Network. I think we just need to applaud him just for those accolades right now. That's pretty right. That's it. In 2015, he was also inducted as a companion in l'Ordre des Arts et Lettres du Québec. Now, since leaving ELAN in 2020, Guy Rex Rogers has written and directed 8 documentary films. 8 documentary films since 2020. I don't even understand this level, how you can be this prolific. I don't even, respect what I'm trying to say. So the films are about Anglophones in Quebec in collaboration with the National Film Board of Canada, CBC, and MaTV. For the past year, he has toured the feature-length documentary, What We Choose to Remember, to more than 35 communities around Quebec. Guy also writes a monthly column, The Montrealer magazine, about culture, history, and politics. Please put your hands together, everyone, for Guy Rex Rogers. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you. Welcome to the 2023 Quebec Writers Federation Awards. It's great to see some familiar faces out there and quite a few new faces. I also saw some pretty fancy hats, and I believe there will be some awards for hats later on this evening. But we're here to celebrate writers. You know, they are the stars of this evening. They are the reason we are here. They are our colleagues, they're our friends, they're our families. So I'd like to start off the evening with a lot of noise and sending a lot of love to all of the nominated writers for this year's awards. Dane. Tonight we are also here to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the QWF Awards. I was happy that the QWF board invited me to be the host this evening. The main reason they did so is because I was the president of QWF 25 years ago when this adventure began. I'm not a book writer. I came to Quebec to study playwriting at the National Theatre School, and now I'm a filmmaker. So my connection with authors was entirely serendipitous. After graduating, as you just heard from Tanya, I worked with some other young theatre people to create the Quebec Drama Federation. And then some novelists, poets, and nonfiction writers were interested in doing something similar, so they asked me if I could give them a few tips. Many kitchen meetings later, and they incorporated the Federation of English Language Writers of Quebec, FUQ. And then there was a public meeting, and FUQ. Well, I won't explain why we changed the name. And then there was a public meeting to elect a board of directors, so I went along as an observer. After a couple of hours of debates, discussions, and a vote, I was more than surprised to find myself elected as the president. I said, I had no idea I was so popular. It must have been the hat. You know, I didn't know most of the people in the room, and they did not know me, so I thought, what is going on here? And it didn't take me very long to figure it out. FUQ was created with a board of directors and an advisory board, and those two factions hunkered down in a battle over control. And I realized the only reason that I had been elected as president was because I was the only nominated candidate in the room who did not have enemies. So while that internecine war was raging, I received a phone call from the Minister of Culture, who asked me if I would join the founding board of what would become le Conseil des Arts et des Lettres du Québec. And calc seemed like a better way to spend my volunteer time than feuding FUQ, so I bid my author friends adieu. And a couple of years later, I received a phone call from the board of the Quebec Society for the Promotion of English Language Literature. You'll also wonder why we changed that name. The QWF Awards were receiving a lot of bad publicity in the media, and the board asked me if I would make an investigation and make some recommendations about how to restore the credibility of the awards. I discovered a couple of complaints. One was that jurors were voting for their friends. After seeing the crony clans of FUQ, that was not surprising. The second complaint was that jurors were not voting for other jurors' favorite books, so they would settle on a compromise of selecting a book that nobody actually hated, which was exactly how I got to be elected president of FUQ. So I made a couple of recommendations. The first was for jurors to evaluate the books independently and separately and not come together. Back then, about 30 years ago, before Zoom, travel costs were prohibitive. By not bringing people together, QSPEL could enlist jurors from across the country and indeed from around the world. And outside jurors could review the books objectively. And many of them are also reviewers and involved with festivals across the country. So there were many ways that they could help books from local writers. The other recommendation I made was that every juror's favorite book should go straight onto the short list. And my hope was that every book on the list would be there because at least one of the jurors absolutely loved the book. So now you've met both of QWF's parents, FUQ and QSPEL. They're about to change. The Minister of Culture gave both of them a small grant to have an office and to hire some part-time staff. In every other province of Canada, a single organization supported writers and presented annual awards. And we could all see that merging FUQ and QSPEL would be of benefit to everyone, but the two organizations resisted. The next part of the story is kind of complicated, but I'll make it very short. I mean, I found myself elected president of QSPEL, and then I was re-elected president of Fuke, and my mission was to convince both of the boards to merge into a single organization. After many months of negotiation, we reached an agreement, and the new baby was christened the Quebec Writers Federation, and the QSPEL Awards were rebranded as the QWF Awards 25 years ago. Yeah, all right. One of the first big things that QWF did was to hire a full-time executive director, and we could not have done better than to hire Laurie Schubert, who has built QWF into a great institution in our town. I went off to create Elan as a home for all artistic disciplines, including the ones that I work in. But I continue to follow the progress of QWF and how Laurie and a consistent team of dedicated board members have made it really an outstanding organization. When QSPEL and Fuke were created, English language culture in Quebec was at its lowest ebb after a massive exodus that took place over many decades amongst the English-speaking community. It was impossible back then to imagine a dynamic, vibrant English language writing scene in Quebec or an award ceremony like tonight. With Bill 96, we are once again going through turbulent political times, and who knows what the world might look like in a few months or years or decades hence. But right now, we have a thriving literary scene, a large community of writers known across Canada and around the world. We have the Quebec Writers Federation, and tonight we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the QWF Awards. So if you have a hat, if you don't have a hat, if you have a glass, if you could raise them now, I'm going to say hats off to QWF, and hats off to all of the writers who've been nominated for the 2023 Quebec Writers Federation Awards. Yay. All right. So now we're going to start with the first awards, which are the QWF College Writers Awards. This prize is sponsored by all of the CEGEPs and colleges, Champlain, Dawson, Heritage, John Abbott, Marianopolis, and Vanier. The prize is awarded for the best short story, poem, or work of nonfiction written in English by a student in one of the sponsoring colleges this past academic year. The jurors for the prize were Josh Curion, Maya Rolbin-Gani, and Raphaël Vaillancourt. The finalists for this year's prize are Haft by Charles Brisson, Dawson College. Bad Brain Blunder by Nemesis Jarry, Dawson College. And Efflorescence by Catherine Lee, Marianopolis College. Great. Presenting the prize tonight will be Raphaël Vaillancourt and Douglas Brown, Program Dean and Dean of Pedagogical Development and Innovation at John Abbott College. So while they're coming up, one more applause for the recipients.
Hello, hello, nice hats. I'm loving this. This year, these stories were amazing as always. It brought us back to our own time in college. Excuse me. And that was the reason why we selected certain of the finalists and also some of the finalists because they were just so different, just so filled with talent, and just so raw in some cases. These three are our three favorites. Of course, the whole short list was very difficult to choose from. We're very proud of the choices we made, and we hope that the three finalists are very happy. And we wish you the most of luck because there was so much talent in these stories, and we cannot wait to read more of your stuff.
So I'm very happy to be here helping present these awards on behalf of the English language CEGEPs. institutions which so many Quebec writers have found their professional homes in over the last half century, and which have been the launching pads for many young writers. So I have foolproof instructions here on this envelope, and I will open them. The winner of the 2023 QWF College Writers Award is Catherine Lee of Marinopolis College. So, for efflorescence, the cash prize is $1,000, and Catherine's piece will be published in Carte Blanche, the Quebec Writers Federation's online literary journal.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This is really unexpected. I had fully convinced myself that I had no chance of winning, so this is... I'm sorry, I had prepared something to say, but I'm feeling very emotional right now. But well, first of all, thank you to the QWF for nominating me, for allowing me to even have a chance at this amazing award. I want to thank my family and my cousin who's here tonight, and my friends who supported me along the way. I'm so sorry. This award goes out to everyone who has felt that they don't belong in the arts community, or who has felt that they are not really, not destined, but who feels like they don't consider themselves a writer for whatever reason, be it familial pressure, be it pursuing an unconventional path, or anything that makes them feel excluded. This goes out to you. And I must thank my CJEP English teachers. Without them, I would not be here. I would not be the writer that I am without them. So I want to thank, in particular, Sabine Walser, who cannot be here tonight, unfortunately, but thank you so much. And thank you, congrats to the other finalists. Thank you so much. And have a good evening. Thank you.
Now it's time to present the Carte Blanche Prize, which is sponsored by Mark Gallup. Greg Santos, editor of Carte Blanche, can't be here tonight and sends his regrets. Presenting the prize will be Zoe Shaw, managing editor of Carte Blanche, and Aveline K. Mokha, also known as Mirabelle, juror for this year's prizes. So can you come up to the stage?
Good evening. I'm honored to be representing Carte Blanche tonight. As Guy said, Greg couldn't make it tonight, but on behalf of both of us and the editorial team at large, thanks to the QWF and to Mark Gallup for his continued support, his continued sponsorship that makes the prize possible. So the Carte Blanche Prize celebrates an outstanding submission by a Quebec-based writer or translator that we published in the magazine in the last year. The third place runner-up will receive $150. The second place runner-up will receive $200, and in addition to a cash prize of $350, the first place winner will receive the Lorry, which I saw over here. It's beautiful. It's a unique trophy created by artist Glenn Lemisurier of Van Horn Terminal Ironworks. And yeah, it's stunning. So I'm very excited to introduce our guest judge for the prize, Mirabelle. Evelyn is a wonderful award-winning poet who's worked with Carte Blanche a few times now, notably as a guest blog editor for our Resilience Resistance series. You can find it on our website. It's free to read, and as are all of our issues. Her poetry collection, The Vanishing Act and The Miracle After, was published by Garnet Editions this year. So thank you so much, Evelyn, for judging the prize this year. I can't see you without turning around.
I'm here.
And, oh, sorry, I'll just introduce them first. Sorry.
Wow,
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So the three finalists for the 2023 Carte Blanche Prize are H. Felix Shaw Bradley's short fiction, Three Disorientations, which we published in issue 45. Katja Grubic's translation of Relieved by Marie-Claire Blaise Augustino ou l'Illumination, published in issue 45. And Laura Mota Zhuangyi's poem, The Cows Are Benevolent and Full of Flies, published in issue 44. And I've been told to invite all of the finalists to come on stage, our three finalists, while Evelyn reads her comments on each piece.
All right. Beautiful. I'm just going to wait for all the finalists to join me. I just want to start off by saying thank you to QWF for thinking me an interesting enough person to judge a prize that was so diverse, like everything from comics to translation to poetry to fiction made it in. And I also just want to say that every single person who's up here has impressive writing talent. So I want to go through pieces in the order that in alphabetical order of the author's name. The first one was Three Orientations. Disorientations by Felix Shaw Bradley. I thought it was a brilliant exploration of identity and self-discovery. I really loved the structure that it followed. It has, again, three key acts to it. And the first act, the protagonist is on a bus ride and he's battling, they're just battling with a lot of emotions, thinking about snowflakes and lost lovers. And there's almost this chance of connection and it turns to nothing. And the tension builds in the second act as well. And there's this intense desire for vulnerability and perseverance, in the light of being different and being marginal. That's actually really what I loved is the prose was so full of queer imagery and using sexuality as a way for empowerment. It was an incredible work of art, and I'm really proud to have even read it, to have even been near a piece that was as beautiful as that. Thank you. I think a translation piece is successful when it makes you want to read the work in the original language and yet is completely a piece of its own, that liminal space. And that's exactly what Katja Grubic's work did. It was a brilliant translation of an excerpt. And in this excerpt, there's a lot of pondering about death and mortality. And there's this dynamic cadence to the whole piece. There's very little punctuation, which can be so overwhelming, but it completely fit the theme, and that was beautiful. And it's from the perspective of someone who's witnessing illness en masse, so mass illness in India. And there was a line that I was really struck by. Relieved of their birth, being born was perhaps the most fraudulent injustice. And that was gorgeous writing that is really hard to preserve in a translation without losing consistency and flow. So I was really, really happy to read this one as well. And the last piece, And the last piece, The Cows Are Benevolent and Full of Flies. First of all, amazing title, but also an equally amazing piece. Nature was like a canvas, and there's this whole focus on introspection and self-discovery, and there is this protagonist who's almost communicating with nature. So flowers are giggling and cows are being compassionate, and it's this really absurd environment that helps the protagonist reach to some conclusion about their relationship, which they're really fearful about. All of these pieces were amazing, and I'm so ready to introduce the winner as well.
Okay. All right. So in third place, we have The Cows Are Benevolent and Full of Flies by Dorimo Tsejongi. And our second place runner-up is Relieved, translated by Katja Grubczyk. And in first place, that leaves Three Disorientations by Felix Chow Bradley.
Wow, thank you so much. So I have a few words prepared. Thank you so much, Mirabelle, for recognizing this piece, and also congrats to my two other finalist buddies on stage. Also, thank you to Liana for asking me to submit this piece to Carte Blanche. I should say Carte Blanche, I really appreciate it's such a wonderful literary space in this city, and it's also the first lit mag that ever published any of my work, back before I really considered myself to be a writer, so I'm very, very grateful for Carte Blanche's existence, and also to QWF for making these awards possible. I'm just so grateful to be a part of such a vibrant writing scene in this city and this province with all of you, so thank you. Before I get off stage, I did want to say a few other words. There is some dissonance for me, and maybe many of you in the room as well tonight, gathering here to celebrate, which we should, but we've also been watching a genocide happening in Gaza for the last 5 weeks. Today, Al Jazeera reported that more than 11,000 Palestinians have been killed by the IDF within this time period, and that today Al-Shifa Hospital, which is the largest hospital in the Gaza Strip, is now completely out of service. Much of the writing that's been honored by the QWF Awards over the past years, and this year as well, really speak truth to power in so many ways. And with that in mind, I really call on everyone in this room to do everything we can in our capacity as writers and editors and translators and publishers and other people who work in the business of storytelling, to do everything we can to stop the genocide of Palestinians. And additionally, in the face of an alarming increase in firings and silencings of writers and academics and journalists in the past few weeks, who have spoken out in solidarity with Palestine, I call on the QWF and any other arts organizations who may be present tonight who may not have done so yet, to commit to and make public statements in support of Palestinians and also any other people who speak out in solidarity with Palestine. And to end, I hope we can all call on the Canadian government to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, and beyond that, to stop arming the Israeli state and to work towards an end to Israel's brutal, decades-long occupation. We writers are carriers of dreams and belief in so many ways, and I believe in a free Palestine. Thank you.
I think we should have a moment of silence for all those who are caught in this conflict. All of them. Let's just have a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone.
Free Palestine.
So we're going to continue with tonight's event. We're going... Do you want to all make the sound with me? Thank you, everyone. So I would like to present the next award, and it's a joy and an honor to speak about this lovely human being. Now, this is the Judy Mappin Community Award, and QWF and I am also proud to present it to Elise Moser. Let's put your hands together. So I would like to say a few words about Elise's wonderful work in the world. So since the 1980s, Elise has been active in the literary scene in Montreal and beyond. Elise has served on a number of boards and literary committees, including the boards of PEN Canada, the English Language Arts Network, ELAN, and the Quebec Writers Federation, QWF, of which she was the president from 2009 to 2012. Elise is also a founder of the National Juries Awards Working Group, conceived and organizes ALAC's Read Quebec Book Fair, and is a member of the Literary Umbrella of Quebec. Luck. We'll go that way, because Elise knows. As well as Elise is also project coordinator for the Atwater Writers Exhibition. But it doesn't end there. Consistently and without fail, Elise has done whatever she can to promote the work of her fellow authors by serving as a mentor, editor, and steadfast supporter for countless authors in Quebec, and of course, even outside of Quebec. Always carving out space to look after the needs of others in all her undertakings. She is attentive, diplomatic, and ethical, considering what best serves the needs of the organization or community and its diverse body of writers. For her vast contributions and unwavering dedication to the literary arts in Quebec, we take great pleasure in presenting Elise Moser with the 2023 Judy Mappin Community Award. Congratulations.
Sorry. Thank you. All of you. I'd like to thank Tanya for holding on to me just now. Thank you to the people who nominated me. I know some of you are here. Thanks to the committee, which accepted that nomination, and to the QWF staff and all the volunteers who make this gala happen. Thank you to you for that. I have a couple of things to say, but before I do, I am aware that several recent winners of this Judy Mappin Award aren't here today with us. And I want to remember Richard King and Rana Bose and Ian Ferrier. I'm missing them right now. Okay. So I want to say to you what a great honor this award is for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is that it allows the happy recipient, which is in this case me, to glow in the reflected glory of Judy Mappin. In my previous lives as a bookseller and a publisher sales rep, I was fortunate to be part of the milieu that Judy played a huge role in building. She was kind and gracious and generous. For anyone who doesn't know who Judy was, she was one of the founders of Canada's first all-Canadian bookstore, Montreal's own Double Hook, in 1974. These days we're surrounded by a depth and breadth of Canadian writing, like even right here, that was only beginning to be imagined at that time. Judy was one of the people who actively ushered it into existence. I'm thrilled to be, in a small way, part of her lineage in that respect. This is also a wonderful honor because while it's true that I have done a lot of work over the years, I never work alone. So although you have awarded it to me, it also belongs to many of you. In particular, I want to mention one of my principal collaborators, without whom I might not have done hardly any of it. I refer, of course, to the magnificently competent, warm, and kind Laurie Schubert. Yes. Laurie has made working with QWF so satisfying and such a pleasure. Working with Laurie and with the rest of you has been the real prize all these years. Being part of this community has been a sustaining joy to me for the best part of my life. And by that, I don't mean the largest, I mean the best. I've often looked around me and wondered why I was spending so much time working in our writing community when there were much more urgent and important things to do in the world. I saw activists doing great things while I was doing small things. But I realized that somebody has to do the work from person to person within each community, and you are mine. I also realized that if you have an organization to work through, you have more power and wider scope to put your values into practice. And that is ultimately the work that needs to be done by each of us in our own corner to make a more just world. I'm proud of the way that we have made QWF a bigger and more welcoming tent over the years. I believe that the work of words, in whatever form, is essential to our well-being as people and also to the health of civil society and democracy. I believe that what we do matters. This award is a symbol to me of my good fortune, because there's not much that makes for a better life than doing work you care about with people you love and respect. Thank you for that, and thank you for this.
A very well-deserved and popular award, and nobody works harder than Elise, on behalf of all of us. Nora speaks as well, indeed. Now, I want to say a few words in tribute of a man who is a friend of many of us, Ian Ferrier. Elise just mentioned him, who left us a few weeks ago. I want to extend my condolences to Sarah Beth, his partner, and Janet, his sister, who are both here this evening. I first met Ian because of the Quebec Writers Federation. He joined the board while I was president, and we were both interested in performing arts and multimedia. Then when Ian was president of QWF, I was forming Gallant, and Ian was a great ally in getting Gallant up and running. More recently, I interviewed Ian for my feature film, What We Choose to Remember, where he talked about being a young person in Montreal during the FLQ years, and he gave some really moving testimony. After Ian was diagnosed with cancer, his multitude of friends visited him regularly. Any of you who visited him, there was always people in the room, people waiting to get in, people arriving. He was just extraordinarily popular. There was an online celebration of Ian's life on October the 2nd, which was one of the most moving events I've ever attended. Hundreds of friends shared stories about Ian in his many roles as poet, pioneer, producer, mentor, friend, and visionary. And Ian was online with us all to feel the love. We will remember Ian for his passion, his generosity, and his profound humanity. I am also happy to announce that QWF will remember Ian. The board has voted to name the QWF Spoken Word Prize in his honor as the Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize. Yes. Thank you, Ian. Now it is time to present the Concordia University First Book Prize. Oh, I see we have some fans. Go ahead. Make them feel welcome. QWF is proud to have its first book prize sponsored by Concordia University, which offers the only BA and MA English language creative writing programs in Quebec. The finalists are Shema Benham Barrack for Halal Sex, The Intimate Lives of Muslim Women in North America, published by Viking Canada. Tanya Standish McIntyre for The House You Were Born In, published by McGill Queen's University Press. Andrew Stobo Snyderman and Douglas Sanderson Amo Benashi for Valley of the Bird Tale, An Indian Reserve, A White Town, and The Road to Reconciliation, published by HarperCollins Publishers. And Michelle Seba for End Times, published by Freehand Books. The jurors for the prize were Alan Barassa, Helen Humphreys, and Molly Swain. Presenting the prize tonight will be Alan Barassa and Stephen Yeager, Associate Professor and Chair of the Department of English at Concordia University. I would also like, while you're coming up, I'd like to mention that all of the prizes tonight will be presented by Deanna Radford And these prizes were created by Colin Schley. They're made out of paper like books. They're pages. They're bound. They're extraordinarily beautiful works of art. And Deanna will be handing them out. So over to the prize presenters.
Good evening. Very proud to be here to present the first book award, or to at least read you our comments. First books are wonderful. They are, you only get one. And it's often a working through of something that's been bothering you your whole life. So this is why I think I can speak for the other judges when I say these books landed very powerfully with us. So here are some of the comments that we had to say. About halal sex, we wrote, the portrait of 6 individual Muslim women and the 1 non-binary person and their relationship to sex and sexuality is by turns captivating, heart-wrenching, laugh-out-loud funny, surprising, and deeply relatable. Benambara contextualizes her and her participants' stories through discussions of family relations, cultural expectations, and the realities of living as immigrants in non-Muslim majority societies. Her participants leap off the page as fully realized people, and reading Halal Sex feels at times like chatting over tea with new friends who are not only incredibly interesting, but generous and patient with the limits of your cultural and religious understanding. It is both an engaging read and a compelling intellectual work for anyone interested in feminist storytelling and scholarship on sex and sexuality. About the house you were born in, we wrote, one of the interesting things that Kurt Vonnegut once said was, the most damning thing you can reveal about yourself as a writer is that you don't know the difference between what is interesting and what is not. Tanya Standish McIntyre knows what is interesting, and she renders it beautifully. This documentary-style book of poems beautifully captures working-class life in the rural Quebec community where she grew up. McIntyre has not only a lyrical gift, but she is able to pack a lifetime into one page. She weaves the same magic again and again. Her world is utterly convincing and compelling. I do not find myself weeping at Canadian poetry, except for tears of frustration. But there were moments when I had to put this book down, as McIntyre's lyricism, her understanding, her empathy, and her courage were just too piercing. An absolutely beautiful book that has restored my faith in contemporary Canadian poetry. About Valley of the Birdtail, the jurors wrote, Valley of the Birdtail adeptly communicates the complexities of historical race relations in Canada without flinching from a fundamental truth. Canada is built and maintained through white supremacy, and 19th and 20th century settlement schemes have been and continue to be central to this project. Without downplaying or denying this reality, Snyderman and Sanderson have also given us a story underpinned with a cautious but persuasive hope that settlers and Indigenous people can reach past the centuries of social conditioning and systemic discrimination to create a more equitable and sustainable future for all. This book should be in university classrooms and on coffee tables, in book clubs, and politicians' offices. Its clarion call is that our histories, Indigenous and settler, are inextricably intertwined, and that building a more equitable future requires that we look unblinkingly at how past relations shape present realities. And finally, about end times, we wrote, the 7 stories in this book all deal with faith and belief, each story circling the subject in a different way. For a debut collection, the writing is impeccable. The descriptions are precise, the dialogue is snappy, and the characters are finely drawn. Each story builds on the one before, even while dealing with different people and situations, so that by the conclusion of the collection, the reader feels that faith and belief have been well and truly explored through the characters. End Times is a thrilling first collection by a writer who is bound to come stronger with time.
So the winner is Valley of the Bird Tail by Andrew Stobo Snyderman and Douglas Sanderson Amo Binashi.
All right, thank you very much, and respect to our other nominees. We start this book with a quote from Murray Sinclair, which goes something like this: "The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off." And this book will piss you off. It will make you angry. But if you really want to change this world, we think, anger is not enough. And that's why this book is also about hope, about empathy, and about mutual understanding. And I hope you check it out. And I want to thank our publisher, HarperCollins, who believed in us. I don't love them that much, but I'm about to thank my wife, Mariella, who I love more. Thank you very much. And my mom and dad are out in the back, Sarah Pritchard. And Alan Snyderman, who gave me the love that I needed to write this book. And I want to thank my co-author, Douglas, for being my friend and my brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stobo and I started this adventure. He was a former student of mine, and over time, we became friends. We became writing partners. He's like a brother to me now. So thank you, Stobo. Thank you also. I want to thank all of our partners who help in the process of writing, and I don't just mean our human partners, I mean our other than human partners, our pets and the spirit beings who give us the energy to produce the words, but also those human supports, those people who support great writing, and I'm talking here about the tobacconists, the dispensaries, the brewers, the distillers, and tonight, the milliners. Thank you so very much. In all seriousness, when Murray Sinclair launched the TRC report back in 2015, I was taken aback by the energy with which Canadians of all stripes and all ages just dove into the project of reconciliation. People wanted to do stuff, and we've been working on it for a long time now in ways that have impressed me. But it's also occurred to me recently that we sort of all blew past the truth part. We just all kind of thought we knew what the score was. And I'm not talking about the residential schools, though there is that, and as terrible and as multi-generational traumatic as that is, has been to my family and many, many others. There are so many more stories of oppression that took place and have taken place and are taking place between Indigenous Canadians and the settler state. And Valley of the Bird Tail, one of the reasons we wrote it is to provide that basis for truth, because I truly believe that we cannot advance to a world of reconciliation until we take that hard step, the one that promises to piss us off. Thank you.
Last year, QWF launched the Spoken Word Prize. It is open to Quebec-based spoken word artists, storytelling artists, literary performance artists, working primarily in English, in any of the performative writing, including poetry, story, monologue, hip-hop, dub, sound poetry, experimental, and interdisciplinary work. As of tonight, it will be called the Ian Ferrier Spoken Words Prize after a man who is a pioneer in many of these art forms. The jury was charged with narrowing down the 25 submissions QWF received to a list of up to 8 finalists, and up to 3 winners. After viewing a performance video and a printed text, the jurors were asked to make their decisions based on the quality of the performances and the texts, without considering the quality of the production values. All of the finalists performed at the AELAQ Holiday Book Affair earlier this month, and each of the 3 winners will receive a $1,000 prize. The 8 finalists are Michael B. Weird Clark for Survival Mechanism, Lucia De Luca for Stalling, Nick Lachance for Shame Smokes, Caitlin Murphy for All the Screams, Alexis O'Hara for Oof the Land, Raisa Simone for Buying History, Sven Telemark for Out of Space, and Deb Van Slet for Laughter in the Rain. The jurors were Gillian Christmas, Kim Dominique Ferguson, and Sherry D. Wilson. Presenting the prizes tonight will be Kim Dominique Ferguson and Jason Blackbird Selman. Come on stage, gentlemen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I think the best way to kind of describe poetry for me is from slam, where we say the poetry is the point, the points are not the point. Because judging poetry feels like judging breath. Because poetry should not be judged, it should not be categorized, but we find a way to do it. Because we obviously came up with some winners. It was not an easy task. We deliberated, we debated, we went back and forth, because everybody has their favorites, everybody has their things that they prefer. And at the end of it, we came to a consensus. So these are just a few of the thoughts that we, the jury, had. We praised B. Word's strong writing and rhythmical performance style. We enjoyed the original rhythms and the authentic content and expression in the piece. For Lucia De Luca, she shows real promise and knows how to utilize her training without being swallowed up by it. We really enjoyed the way she used time and distance so succinctly through the odometers of the different cars. We found that Nick Lachance's piece was beautifully written and memorable. We praised her stunning language, their stunning language, rhythmical schemes, and smooth vocals. We felt that Caitlin Murphy presented a moving, well thought out, and relatable story with important explorations of shame and parental guilt. We also said that Alexis O'Hara's piece made us laugh, but also that it was a deeply emotive performance with articulation of word and body, and it turned white privilege on its head. The jury was impressed with Raisa Simone's comfortable delivery. We remarked that her piece was reminiscent of Nina Simone's My Skin is Black, which is a quiet evisceration of yet another colonialist. We particularly enjoyed the way Sven's Telemak relates to his audience and admired his relaxed delivery and his rhythmical rhyming couplets with a hip-hop vibe. And finally, we praised Deb Van Slet's piece as a well-told tale from an experienced voice in which humor and deep emotion move with good pacing and delicious language. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Selman to tell you the winners.
Good evening. Permit me to just say a short word about Ian. I feel I have to. This is his award now, and I'm really happy about that. And when I think about Ian, I've known him for a long time, not that well, but I really appreciate Ian for knowing me well enough to see something in me before I saw something in myself. And after his passing, I was there for the video conference. That was beautiful. I thought back about words and music, and to when I first was asked to do words and music, and I realized how long ago that was. Not just for the sake of it being long ago, but retracing my steps to say, wait a minute, when he asked me to do that, how did he know about who I was? I didn't know what I was doing at that point in time. I didn't know where I was going, but he saw something in me. And I think with every step I took in Ian's presence, whenever he invited me to do words and music, or with his last step, my last memory of him is him saying to me, Jason, you need to put out an album. That's my last memory of Ian, of him seeing me all the time. And I think with everything else that's going on in this world, we are all still children who need to be seen. And I'm forever thankful to Ian for seeing me. Because for me, being who I am and where I come from, which part of is Montreal, born and raised, I'm not always expecting people to see me, but Ian saw me, and I'm really thankful for that. The winners of the 2023 Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize, each of whom will receive $1,000, are Michael B. Word Clark for Survival Mechanism, Caitlin Murphy for All the Screams, and last but not least, Deb Van Slet for Laughter in the Rain.
Wow, to take my hat off, it's too hot. I'm honored and thrilled to be here amongst these finalists. Thank you to the jury for the recognition. And I'm especially honored to be receiving this, I guess, the launch of the Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize. I'd like to thank the QWF team and board, and I want to thank my Confabulation live storytelling team for their support and enthusiasm, and to the community, to the people who come out every month to hear true life stories, who come to hear it and who also are inspired enough to want to tell one too. Stories, true as we can tell them. And telling the story that I told in this Laughter in the Rain, about when I was a kid, which is some 50 years ago, I mean, it's about using vivid, strong memories as anchors to connect my way to a story that contains an emotional truth about being confused, closeted, invisible, but also a societal truth and context about how difficult and dangerous it was to come out. And it still is. Thanks for taking the time and making the time to listen to stories. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank QWF, especially for starting this award last year. I was nominated last year as well, and it's an honor to be here again. And to the jury for putting all the thoughtful, focused consideration into these kinds of decisions, which are incredibly difficult. This is a piece I wrote about being a mother, so it's very much dedicated to my children, Nicholas and Finn, who are home with a babysitter right now, who I hope are not being terrible like they usually are. I told them I would give them each $50 if I won, so now that has to happen. But I write a lot about my children. They've given me more material to work with than I ever wanted. I bitch about them a lot, but ultimately they have really taught me that our highest calling is to take care of one another. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, QWF, for this opportunity. It's the second year for the spoken word. It means a huge amount, and especially naming it Ian Ferrier, yeah, honestly touches the heart. Thank you so much to Dina Smith and for upholding the community as well. The poem Survival Mechanisms is about how and why men become toxic as we armor ourselves with caustic anger against the world and each other. It's about how anger is cyclical, like the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its tail. It took me so many years to find the words to write that poem. And I love spoken word poetry because it survives by the breath. Many poets, years into the craft, do not publish books. Some forbid their poems to be recorded. Stop recording. The poem shapes the audience as it is shaped by them. One hand washes the other. Spoken word is our shared ancient tongue. It's an eternal ritual that defies the Tower of Babel. It's cast like a magic spell, woven with the verbiage and perspective of a people in time, the words themselves blessed and cursed by history. We must cherish this act of listening, of seeking mutual understanding in loving kindness. It's an act of meditation, a trance upon the breath, upon mellifluous vibrations riding an ocean of air. Our ears evolved these folds from the strain of listening to these sounds that vibrate most high. So thank you for bending your ear tonight, for being readers, learners. We live in uncertain times where decades pass by in a week and our greatest fears are visited upon our most vulnerable. I hope together we may find the words, despite even righteous anger. The hand that throws the hot coal is burned as well. As a poet, I must believe that in the end, it is our words that will light the way. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.
So tonight we're going to see video performances by all three of the winners. And the first one we're going to see is Michael B. Weird performing Survival Mechanisms.
Some say gender is a spectrum, though I see it as a schism. All the things that made me a man were just survival mechanisms. School was like a prison. I was ruled by fools ripe with cynicism. It's me with your misgivings. Shoved down a corridor to settle old scores behind closed doors. Shoved into a locker like a shiv. I was thin. I could hide in the dim. I could never tell a foe from a friend. My old sensei Willie would always say to me, your best defense in a fight was to keep your distance. You have no chance to react once someone gets too close to you. Matter of fact, I thought karate could salvage my masculinity. Anger would coil my fingertips into fists like electricity. My father's curse, a hot coal thrown by these burnt palms. What's worse? White hot eyes that squeezed out tenderness, the temperament of tempered steel reeling in my indignant righteousness. When I bullied the bully who would poison my teammates against me, spreading hateful lies about my size, I became a man. When I won a fight by laughing in surprise to a sucker punch to the gut, I became a man. I learned how to man up, how to stifle how I felt, because those feelings made me vulnerable. If being baited into an outburst made you trivial to ridicule, wouldn't you trap your feelings like lightning in a bottle? But one day you awake mid-break after going full throttle, lost control of the vehicle of your hopes and dreams. You cope and seethe. You see male role models on the TV succeed because of their toxic masculinity. That same entitled anger that nearly broke my brother. When we were kids and I was bored, I would goad him into going overboard. I explored how to explode the anger he had stored. Oh, how I made him suffer. How we hurt each other in the ways men believe it will make them tougher. It's like defusing a bomb, trying to tell you all this. Confronting a moldy container after a long Christmas trip. And the softer side of me knows it takes strength to be weak, to speak on it, to grieve the loss of innocence. I never wanted to be an old soul as a young child. I never wanted my gender expression to be a survival mechanism.
And now it is time to present the finalists for the Janet Savage Blachford Prize for Children's and Young Adult Literature. This year's competition was open to longer chapter books and books for middle grade or young adult readers. The finalists are Sylvia Escabas for Witches of Brooklyn, S'more Magic, published by Random House Graphic. Jennifer A. Irwin for Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny, published by Charles Briggs. And Edith Ravel for A Boy Is Not a Ghost, published by Groundwood Books. The jurors for the prize were Danielle, Pamela Mordecai, and Hannah Morrow. Presenting the prize tonight will be Hannah Morrow and Brian Demchinsky. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah. I was so privileged to spend the whole summer on this emotional, spiritual journey. And I'm curious, are all three of the nominated authors here tonight? I would like to gaze lovingly in your direction as I rave about your books. Jennifer Irwin, where are you? You're right there? Hi. Okay. And Edith Ravel, where are you? Are you here? Okay, so here. Okay. And Sophie Escabas, you're over there, right? Okay, great. So, some little clips from the jury's comments about these three outstanding pieces of literature. About Witches of Brooklyn, S'more Magic, we wrote that it's a wonderfully entertaining and sophisticated graphic novel with superbly executed illustrations, obviously. The title points to a playful blending of the exoteric and the esoteric, but little do we know just how far our protagonist, Effie, is about to take us. The gliding ease of this literary experience is impressive considering the number of highly original elements that are just seamlessly woven into this quirky and fantastical world, just one after the other. It appears that Escabas has just struck an ideal balance between tried and true archetypes and never before seen quirky characters. And all throughout the book, the fantasy and magic elements provide flourishing allegories for preteen life lessons. And finally, the beautiful illustrations render this book, the book itself, an object of fascination fit to rival an iPad. Yes, I'm serious. One imagines preteens coveting this object as a secret key to portals of their own heroic journeying. Yeah. Now let's get into Captain Skidmark, Dances with Destiny, okay? At just over 300 pages, with no epistolary chapters, glimpses into school papers, or any other break from the standard first-person narrative, this book remains gripping from cover to cover. It's a well-written, funny, coming-of-age story, and one imagines it would be viewed by preteen boys as no less than an epic tale of grappling towards manhood and a clarion call to self-mastery. It's a boisterous, ruckus book, one that should invite boys who are reluctant readers. If there is a plethora of boner and fart jokes, boys are like this, hopefully just to start with. But in all seriousness, stories aren't lessons, they're voyages. Scary, sad, disturbing, funny, joyous, and sometimes, as in the hands of this fine author, all of these. And A Boy is Not a Ghost. About this, the jurors wrote that it's a tender and touching story about a boy exiled to Siberia during World War II, told through the voice of a young boy named Nat, who transports us through the hardships of this frightening journey with his astonishing and capable strength, his endearing heart, and an ability to still seek kindness in those around him, despite the pain and fear that he endures. Nat's voice was quietly and strongly poignant and affecting. His story will stay with me. While the content is understandably heavy, the way it is presented is age-appropriate and sensitive to both the story and the young reader, which depicts a great command and artistry of the writing craft. Because there is such pervasive ignorance of recent times and cultures, including the history and events surrounding the First and Second World Wars, events that have defined the modern world, this book is invaluable reading for adults as well as young people in the classroom and out. Bravo to all three of these authors. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you.
And the winner is, but before we get to that, I have to say what an honor it is to be here to introduce the Janet Savage Blachford Prize for Children and Young Adult Literature. Because Janet and I shared a rare and too brief friendship when we worked together on Blue Lake, the novel she wrote in her final year. Despite our differing backgrounds, we held in common a love of good books, gossip about Montreal writers, and the QWF, which we were both on the board of. And I also want to extend a huge thanks to Janet's husband, John Blachford, for keeping her memory alive with this prize. John, stand up and take a bow. There he is. And now the winner of the Janet Savage Blachford Prize for Children's and Young Adult Literature, and the winner is A Boy Is Not a Ghost by Edith Ravel. Edith is unable to be here tonight, and so accepting on her behalf is Laurie Schubert, Executive Director of the Quebec Writers Federation. Laurie.
And I'm going to stand over here because I feel this microphone is lonely. These are Edith's words. Writing A Boy Is Not a Ghost and A Boy Is Not a Bird was my way of thanking a teacher who so long ago in 5th grade gave his students the extraordinary gift of his story. As a child, he experienced injustice and brutality, yet never lost his humanity, optimism, and vast capacity to love and understand others. Mr. Halpern emerged from his harrowing years of exile in Siberia under Stalin's regime with his compassion, love of life, and sense of humor intact. I wanted, through these books, to preserve and pass on the riveting stories he told us when we were 11. He inspired me then, and he continued to inspire me in the years that followed. We have seen in these past tragic weeks how easy it is to descend into the hellish quagmire of hatred. Hatred only leads to more hatred. Mr. Halpern's story is a powerful reminder of the alternatives. I hope I've succeeded in transmitting even a small part of his message. Thank you for your great support.
The jurors' comments are always so lively, and they bring the books to life. And Hannah read that with such expression that I felt like I want to buy all three of those books. Now we're going to present the Mavis Gallant Prize for Nonfiction. The finalists are Alex Manley for The New Masculinity, a roadmap for 20... A Roadmap for 21st Century Definition of Manhood, published by ECW Press. Julian Scher for The North Star, Canada and the Civil War Plots Against Lincoln, published by Knopf Canada. Andrew Stobo-Snyderman and Douglas Anderson, Amo Benache for Valley of the Birdtail, An Indian Reserve, A White Town, and the Road to Reconciliation, published by HarperCollins Publishers. And Deborah Thompson for The Long Road Home on Blackness and Belonging, published by Simon & Schuster, Canada. The jurors for the prize were Paul Sisakwesi, Kelly S. Thompson, and Marilee Weisbord. Presenting the prizes tonight will be Marilee Weisbord and Crystal Chan, Vice President of the Quebec Writers Federation. Crystal, come on up.
About the new masculinity, the jury wrote, Manley's impeccable book is not only a call to action, but also a thorough education in what it means to be manly in today's world. Infused with humor and witty writing, it was a captivating, interesting read. The author presents the reader with a timeline through which patriarchal norms have rooted themselves in our culture. As well, he presents a historical analysis of how masculinity has transformed throughout the years with the influence of media, family, and more. All of this is well supported by research, interviews, and personal experience. Even at its most educational and informative, the book is a page-turner. About the North Star, the jury wrote, Julian Scher's masterfully tells the story of Canada's involvement in the American Civil War. With impeccable investigative research, Scher unearths the dark role played by Canada in the Civil War. He weaves history and characters to dramatize the connivance and support for spycraft, theft, arson, germ warfare, assassination that Canada provided to the Confederates. In so doing, North Star shines a warning light on the Confederate-like forces at play today. What stands out is Scher's skill as a storyteller and researcher. He never lets facts and details burden his narrative, but seamlessly weaves them into a gripping narrative that reads like a historical suspense novel. But Scher's story has even more impact because it did happen and it reverberates today. About Valley of the Birdtail, the jury wrote, the authors, Snyderman and Sanderson, explore the theme of reconciliation through the lives of people in two adjacent, culturally separate communities in Western Manitoba. Wiwi-Sikapo Reserve is First Nations, and the town of Rossburn was founded by Ukrainian immigrants. Just opposing these two communities takes us into a human story of reconciliation and how it plays out for individuals and communities. Down to earth, vibrant, seamlessly and impressively structured, Valley of the Birdtail welcomes the reader inside the history, realities, emotions of people we have likely never met and are very happy to know. Snyderman and Sanderson's unique skill is to involve us alongside their characters in a moving, accessible journey through community conflict to a non-saccharine dawning of hopeful understanding, a rapprochement. About the long road home, the jury wrote, Deborah Thompson's narrative on Blackness and belonging is a riveting account of both family history and the notions of belonging and home. It is set in the turmoil of police killing of Black people, the pandemic, isolation, the rise of movements like Black Lives Matter, and the reactions of those affected by them. Referencing history and contemporary events, Thompson neatly dispels the myth that in terms of race, Canada is nicer. She adds affective layers to the narrative by exploring her own personal relationship to race and the meaning of home. Thompson has crafted a moving narrative about race, borders, the many variations of home, and the Black experience in Canada.
Mavis Gallant was only 22 years old here in Montreal, a young reporter, when she interviewed Sartre, yes, who informed her that writing is an end to itself. Well, recognition is a very nice bonus, so congratulations to all the finalists. And the winner of the Mavis Gallant Prize for Nonfiction goes to Valley of the Birdtail by Andrew Stobo Snyderman and Douglas Sander Amobinashi, published by HarperCollins.
Thank you so very much for this incredible double honor. It's such a delight to be here tonight. Stobo and I have been touring Valley of the Birdtail all over Canada and the United States for the past year, and the question we keep getting asked over and over and over at the end of these talks is, yeah, but what can I do about reconciliation? And so over time, this is a story we've developed, that we tell now about what you can do. And this is a story that happens here on Mother Earth, but at a time before there are any human beings. There are only all of the animal beings and the plant beings and the mushroom beings. And one day the Creator calls an assembly of the many animals, and he invites them. He says, I've called you here today because I intend to introduce into this world a new kind of being. But this being won't be like you. This being will not have instincts, and so you will have to teach them everything they know to survive. And this being will be weak and cold, and you will have to sacrifice your flesh for their food and your fur to keep them warm at night. And I want to give them a special gift, though, and that's a special gift of the knowledge of truth and justice. But I can't just give them a gift like that. You can't just hand something like that over. People won't appreciate it. They won't understand that it is a gift. So I don't know where to put it. And that's why I've assembled you here tonight. And Bison goes first. Bison says, well, me. He says, Creator, give it to me, and I will race across the prairies as far and as hard as I can run, and there I will bury the secret. And Creator says, thank you, Bison, but these beings will spread out very far and wide, and they will find it there. And Salmon says, give it to me, and I will take it to the bottom of the ocean. And Creator says, thank you, Salmon. But these beings will spread all over this planet, all across the lands and all across the waters, and there too, they will find the gift. Eventually, Raven says, "Give it to me, Creator, and I will take the gift high into the sky, all the way to Sister Moon, and there I will bury the gift." And Creator says, "Raven, this is hard to believe. They're going to be a very inventive species, and they'll get there too." And one after another, all night long, the animals are suggesting over and over and over, until finally, towards dawn, little Mole puts up his hand. Mole's always the hero of our stories. And Mole says, "Creator, I know." "Where, Mole?" And Mole says, "Creator, put the gift inside of them. That way, each of them will have access to the gift of the knowledge of truth and justice, but each of them must take the journey within to find it." And so the answer tonight to the question of what you can do about reconciliation, the Creator has placed that answer within you, and I invite you to begin the journey. Thank you so very much.
Well, I want to thank Douglas for those profound and inspiring words. Now we're going to have the second video by winners of the Ian Ferrier Prize, and we're going to see Caitlin Murphy performing All the Screams. Here it goes.
Nobody hears all the times you don't scream at your kids. All those screams that you somehow manage to swallow or stifle or accidentally save for later. These brilliant moments of parental heroics never make a sound. When I scream at my kids, because every parent screams at their kids, every parent, even the ones who've discovered breathing techniques or mindful parenting or heard some great expert on a podcast one time, when I scream at my kids, the first thought that comes to me before even I'm sorry is, who heard that? Who heard that? How loud was that? How thin are these walls? Did I leave a window open? Who's at home right now? Didn't I hear that guy upstairs walking earlier? How thin are these fucking walls? Who heard that? Because I'm ashamed. Of course, I'm ashamed that I lost it, and the scream was the unmistakable signal of that failure. And so now I have to investigate how exposed I've been in that failure so I can calculate how much further down the shame spiral I need to dive. So who heard that? And then I think, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them. They don't have kids. Nobody in this building other than me has kids, so they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't get it. They don't understand the long and wicked, twisted journey you've been on that's brought you to the point of this stupid scream. The many, 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 many moments just prior to this scream that you could have screamed, that you would have been totally entitled to scream your face off and didn't. They just hear the actual scream. The one explosion, not the million containments. I live in a building with 8 units representing approximately 15 to 20 people. I know precisely nobody's name and precisely nobody knows mine. I wonder if I'm known as the Anglo woman who lives downstairs with 2 boys and no man. I wonder if they've put together that the father of my children lives up the street. What's the gauzy story they've made up about me and my life? How judgy is it compared to the ones that I've made up about them and theirs? I've lived here 4 years now. When I first moved in, my neighbors and I seemingly agreed almost immediately that we wouldn't acknowledge one another, ever. Deal, fine, let's do that. Or not do that, as the case may be. Good call, less work, who can be bothered, fuck it, right? We've been committed to this non-engagement ever since. Oh, there's that person I don't say hi to, I tell myself almost as a reminder. Right, don't want to ruin that streak. Because there's no going back. We can't change now. Reverse course, can you imagine? If my neighbors and I suddenly started cracking smiles and swapping hello bonjours, what? No. No. How would we make sense of what the hell we've been so dedicated to doing up until now? No. Stay the course of disconnection. When I scream at my kids, my voice goes low and growly, like I'm dredging up a demon from some terrible abyss, gathering up all the darkness that's been building through the day. And for some reason, I usually scream in French. Ça suffit! Ça suffit! It's a terrible sound that I hate as soon as I make, but I know that I had no choice not to summon. Most of the time, I forget I can even sound like that. It hurts my throat just to do it. I hear the voice again and think, oh yeah, that fucking bitch. Maybe that's why I say things in French, so it feels like the voice isn't me. One time, my sons and I were building a snowman on the front stoop of our building. God, I hate winter. And this man walked by us to get to the stairs, and as he did, he said something like, "Thanks for improving the neighborhood, guys." What? Did he? I was shocked. I was shocked he said something nice. I was shocked he said something in English. I was shocked he said anything at all. Oh, wow. Wow. The first wow was happy, and the second one was sad. Like, wow, someone saw us and said something nice to us, and then wow, what if I become accustomed to that first wow makes sense? I can't even tell you if the guy actually lived in the building. He was probably just visiting, seeing as he didn't know about our unspoken policy of not speaking. It's not like anybody says anything mean to me and my kids. It's just that nobody says anything at all. Sometimes I feel like I'm that Haley Joel Osment character in The Sixth Sense, and my kids are Bruce Willis. I see little people. I'm the only one that knows that these people exist. These little people I scream at sometimes when I don't mean to, when I couldn't help it, when I wish I didn't, when I should have done better, when I was pushed to my limits, when I could have dug deeper, when I was totally in my rights, when I had no business, when it had been going on all day, when I apologized later, when I just hadn't slept, when I know that it scares them, when they were being total dicks, when, do you have any idea how fucking hard this gets sometimes? These little people that I scream at sometimes, yes, and you hear it. Surely you hear the Anglo woman downstairs, the two boys and no man, screaming at her kids again. But I worry that just because you can hear it, you get to think that's all I do. The sounds that you hear aren't the only ones we make.
Well, now we're up to the AM Prize for Poetry, which is sponsored by Byron Rempel. The finalists are River Halen for Daydream, published by Book Hug Press. T. Leam for Slows, Twice, published by Coach House Books. And Aaron Robinsong for Wet Dream, published by Brick Books. The jurors for the prize were Jason Purcell, Rohan Quinby, and Senna Yee. None of the jurors were able to attend, so presenting the prize tonight will be Byron Rempel, the sponsor, and QWF board member Tanya Beluma Allett, who will read the jury's comments. So thank you.
About Dream Rooms, the jurors wrote, Dream Rooms is an impressive, incisive, philosophical collection wherein the author surveys their own life from an angle that reveals not only the actors and plots and settings of a particular trans life, but also all the stands and weights and pulleys in the background, responsible for holding it all up. The book unravels, tangles, and weaves new threads, whole tapestries with effortless wit and heart. At once tender and sharp, this book disrupts and creates genres to open up a world where the seemingly mundane everyday can be injected with meaning, transformation, revolution. Halen's writing is quirky and electrically contemporary. Despite their humor and their gift for self-deprecation, the poetry always drives toward an insight or a manifesto that leaves you breathless. About Slows Twice, the jurors wrote, T. Leam's Slows Twice is a stunning display of repetition and restraint, expertly revisiting, relishing, rethinking the same time, people, places into something new. The book also questions all, while knowing very well they shouldn't always have answers. The poet holds a mirror up to language, doubling it and inverting it to reveal the uncanny reflection of the self, that unfamiliar yet known figure. In this formally nimble collection, Leam reflects and refracts the verse within, returning to themes, images, and lines, but each time revealing, through changes in phrase and emphasis, the new growth of language. This book challenges, occupies, and preserves negative space with thoughtful writing, inventively arranged into surprising yet comforting shapes on the page. It plants seeds that bloom into new ways of reading, seeing. About Wet Dream, the jurors wrote, Wet Dream is a life-affirming collection that takes seriously the crisis we all face on a warming planet, while taking just as seriously the role poetry and art might take in forming another world. There's nothing conventional about the way Robin Song uses an erotic register. In her work, in her awareness, what is erogenous escapes the limits of the body and leaks into the air. Her language is generative, biotic, transhuman, and planetary. She offers us a poetics of excess and surplus, of irrepressible flows and of energy and matter that we can only feel and never understand. This is a poet who listens deeply, who has learned how to commune with all that which falls outside of the language of extraction and distraction.
Right on. That's me then. I'm Byron Rempel, and I've been working on this for a while. That was supposed to be smoother, but to open and read on stage. So this is not the winner yet, apparently. This says, Byron Rempel is a wonderful man. Oh, no. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. What is... I've got 2 envelopes to open. I feel like Warren Beatty here. Righto, the winner of the 2023 A.M. Klein Prize for Poetry is Wet Dream by Aaron Robinson. Unfortunately, Aaron is unable to be with us tonight. Sarah Burgoyne, is that right, will be accepting the prize on her behalf.
Just want to say I'm very honored to be representing Erin tonight. These are her words. I'm going to have to refer to myself in third person a couple times, so bear with me. Erin says, I'm standing here next to Sarah in awe of the way words can travel from one body to another. I've asked Sarah to tell you, thank you for holding up this book. Thank you for meeting me in the dream that is Wet Dream and amplifying it. Standing beside me is Sonnet Labbe, the brilliant editor of this book, and Elena Muntz, the publisher, and everyone at Brick who brought this book into being. Thank you, generous readers who helped shape this book, Eliza Robertson, Julie Jostin, D.M. Bradford, Merlin Sheldrake, Joni Murphy, Sina Cara. Thank you, St. Lawrence River. Thank you, Lake Ontario. Thank you, Salish Sea. Your tides are my rhythm and rhyme and time. Thank you to the QWF and the jurors for this beautiful honor and this for night. I think she meant for this night. Thank you, Sarah, for speaking in my stead. I wish I were physically there to celebrate all the books and finalists tonight, and I'm there with my whole heart. Poetry means immediate ceasefire. Thank you.
Well, before the final 2 book prizes, it's time for some hat prizes, as we promised you. So I'm going to leave you in the good hands of Riley Palenka, the Membership Service Coordinator for QWF. Riley, come on out. Hey, Riley.
Hello, everyone.
it's time for the evening's most important award, the Best in Hat Award. I promise this is the most objective award that is going to be given out tonight. So, how is this working? So the front of house team has selected around 5 people who we thought had absolutely fantastic hats tonight. I'll be calling them on stage one by one, and then we're going to do this very Greek. You know, we're going to go like, do you like this person's hat? And then we're going to applaud. You show the love for the hat, you know. And what does the winner get? Because there will be a winner. The winner gets bragging rights. And a full set of the winning books from tonight. So the finalists for the Best in Hat Award. Tara McGowan Ross. Tara, come on up. Is Tara still here? Oh, she left. That hat was really good. That hat was really good. Well, the next person on my list, we have D.W. Wilson. Dave, come on up. We absolutely love your hat. We have Laura Mota. We love your hat. We chose Stephanie Roberts as well. We absolutely love her crown. We have Rachel McCrum, one of our active listeners for tonight. Rachel, give it up for Rachel. And the last person on this list, well, we've already seen him on this stage twice, but we can't get enough of his hat. So let's give it up for Douglas Sanderson. Yeah, it's a hat, it's fine. Okay. So sadly, not everyone can win, you know. So we're going to do this as democratic as possible. So, you know, give it, you know, I'm going to call them out one by one and just show the love for the hats, okay? Pardon? Are we strutting? Sure. Yes, Vogue. Yes. Let's begin with the first one. Dave, show us your best hat walk. Very good. It's very. Let's give it up for Laura. The very glamorous Stephanie. We have Rachel. Very, very exotic tonight. And of course, finally, we have Douglas. I kind of don't know who won.
You started this, Riley.
I think I have a top 2 that I felt I had the highest number of claps. So if it's okay, we're going to narrow it down to 2 people. Can we have Dave and Laura come forward? So let's do it one more. So we're going to hear it one more time. Can I hear the claps for Dave's hat? Can I hear the claps for Laura's hat? Well, I think the winner is now obvious. So I want to thank the 5 of you for playing. Laura, come see me after the show. I'll give you a full set of. I hope you continue having a captivating evening. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Riley, and thank you for the hats. Now it's time for the second last prize of the evening, the Cole Foundation Prize for Translation. The Cole Foundation Prize for Translation recognizes those who apply their skill and talent to building bridges between the Francophone and Anglophone communities of Quebec through the sharing of literature. In even-numbered years, a French language translator wins for a book written by an English language Quebec author. In odd-numbered years like this one, the prize is awarded to an English language translator of a book originally written in French. And the finalists are Katja Grubisic for To See Out the Night, published by QC Fiction Baraka Books, a translation of Dormir sans tête by David Clearson, published by Édition Héliotrope. So yes. Then we have Alicia Jensen and Bronwyn Haslam for This Is How I Disappear, published by Drawn and Quarterly, a translation of C'est comme ça que je disparais by Myriam Mal, published by Édition Pau Pau. Alex Manley for Made Up, a true story of beauty culture under late capitalism, published by Courthouse Books, a translation of Maquillé by Daphne Bay, published by Édition Marchand de Feuilles. Yes. And Peter McCambridge for Rose's Very Own Personal Revolution, published by QC Fiction Baraka Books, a translation of Le Logeuse by Eric Dupont, published by Édition Marchand des Feuilles. Yes. The jurors for the prize were Sarah Brideau, Jean Moreau, and Alexandre Saint-Laurent. Presenting the prizes tonight will be Alexandre Saint-Laurent and Nancy Wells, Secretary-Treasurer of the Cole Foundation. Nancy?
Good evening. About To See Out the Night, the jurors wrote, Grubisic's translation of Clairson's collection is nothing short of a gift to Quebec's two solitudes. Anglophone readers are treated to a work of brilliance that might have remained undiscovered, even if cultivated in their backyard, while the Francophone literary community gets to share and possibly show off one of their crown jewels. The translator's work seems as though it was effortless, as if the text had been written in English in the first place. No word or phrase feels out of place, no choice questionable. In short, the genius of Clairson's writing meets its match in Grubisic's careful and thoughtful rendition. About This Is How I Disappear, the jurors wrote, this book does something that, for us, is very special. It goes beyond the translation of some notional content to present a fully realized life world in the target language. This results in that magical feeling where, reading through the English text, we never experience any uncanny feeling of dislocation. Each of the characters fits perfectly into their role and context. This book represents a high watermark of what translation can do in communicating not only ideas, but experiences and the full realities that are necessarily embedded within. About Made Up, the jurors wrote, the original text is a critical essay on contemporary society's rapport to beauty and makeup that somehow manages to remain extremely personal and relatable by using the refined linguistic strategies of a poet. As the author searches for objectivity, the translator follows along in a deeply sensitive endeavor, daring unobtrusive adaptations when they deem it necessary, additions to clarify context, and never defaulting to easy solutions which might jeopardize the delicate balance of the source. Alex Manley's treatment of Daphne Bay's references to philosophy and pop culture are so smooth that one might wonder if they had co-written the book in the first place. About Rosa's Very Own Personal Revolution, the jurors wrote, realism is splashed with a healthy dose of surrealist color. Satire at times nears the naivete of a whimsical and comical fable, which gives the novel much likeness to a burlesque. These particularities and many other challenging linguistic oddities must have made it a particularly challenging translation. McCambridge truly had his work cut out for him, which he accomplishes most masterfully, finding equivalents where there normally would be none. Even the accents and unlikely acronyms find their perfect English language counterparts in the translation. It just all works so well together with apparent seamlessness. With its strikingly original solutions to translation difficulties, it truly is an inspiring work of artfulness and precision.
So I'm delighted to be here tonight representing the Cole Foundation. And the winner of the 2023 Cole Foundation Prize for Translation is To See Out the Night, translated by Katja Grubesic.
I had to check for a second that my name is actually my name. I did what Laurie told us all to do. All the nominees were chicanated and told to make sure we write something so we don't stand up here going, duh, duh. So I want to thank, I'm going to obviously ad-lib first, but I want to thank you all for your hats and for your demons and the screams and the truths, all the truths and the reconciliations, and especially for all your books and all the words and all the writing. I think we forget why we do it, and it's important that we do it. So thank you for all of this, for the party. Thank you to the QWF, of course, first and foremost, to Laurie and the board and the team, to John and Riley for putting on these awards every year for 25 plus years, and especially for bringing us all together. Thank you to the jurors, to Sarah and Jean and Alexander, and congratulations, and also thank you to Peter, Alex, and Alicia and Bronwyn for your work tonight, and all of the translators that with whom we're always in conversation. I think it's a small community, and the conversations we have feed us all, so hats off. Thanks also especially to Robin and to Peter, and long live QC Fiction. I'd like to say something about editing and editors. I've been lucky to work with editors that are irreplaceable, really, and Peter is one of them, whose generosity and whose specificity and whose kickacity, if I may, really have made this book much of the book that it is. So thank you, Peter. And more than anything, he's not here this evening, but David Clairson, merci for letting me into your brain and into your world and into your books. David and I have very much come of age together as a translator and as a novelist, and it's such a pleasure that this book is the one that gets recognized. So if you haven't read him, read him in the French if you can, in the English if you must, but read this book and all the others. Thank you.
Well, before the final prize, we have one more video from the winners of the Ian Ferrier Spoken Word Prize. So we're going to hear from Deb Van Slet performing Laughter in the Rain.
In 1975, I'm 14 years old, and Neil Sedaka's Laughter in the Rain plays a lot every day on CKGM Montreal Pop Radio. And the song really captures my attention. It's like a high-pitched voice. Ooh, I hear laughter in the rain, walking hand in hand with the one I love. Is that a woman singing about another woman? Like, I'm sure the DJ says that it's Neil Sedaka, but I don't hear that. I never register that. Teenagers listen to music with a certain kind of obsession, searching for themselves, for an identity, for an anthem to rebel to. And I'm a budding dyke in a small Quebec town, but I don't know that. I have no vocabulary, I have no role models. I'm a tomboy. I play boy sports with my dad, with my brothers, with all the boys in the neighborhood. But school is different. In my grade school, ages 6 to 9, the boys and girls are all mixed up in the classroom and in the hallway, but at playtime, we're separated. So we've got to line up at our gendered doors, and we walk out of the building and into the playground. The boys are over here with monkey bars and no shade, and the girls have swings, seesaws, and trees. So, girls. I am drawn to Joanne. She is at the top of the pecking order, mostly because she's the youngest of 9 siblings, and she has quite a vocabulary and a lot of information about body parts and what adults do when kids are not around and how babies are made. And to the rest of us little girls, it's all very fantastical and kind of hard to believe. But I really want to hang around Joanne. I want to be around her. I'll do almost anything for her. And she knows it. She calls me her best friend, mostly. She's always testing my loyalty. Like the whisper campaign one day. She whispers something to a friend, and suddenly none of my friends are talking to me. And this goes on for a day or two, I don't exactly remember, but friends, Colette, will throw me a sympathetic glance. Like, who? But nobody's gonna defy Joanne. And then suddenly it's over, and I'm her best friend again. And I'm ridiculously happy. 1975, I'm 14 years old, and our family always goes camping for our summer holiday, 2 weeks to the Maritimes. And around the campfire of 75, my parents, my 2 younger brothers, and I were toasting marshmallows, eating a few of them, throwing most of them in the fire, as they get burnt. And my mom starts humming my song. And something like bubbles up inside of me, and then, it's weird to hear another woman sing about another woman like that, unless, I guess, you're a lesbian. And there it was, like the word I was looking for inside of me. I didn't even know I knew this word. And my parents are shocked, like, what? Why would you say something like that? And my little brothers are like, what? What did she say? And I don't remember what happened after that. I mean, we didn't talk about the word lesbian or why I might use it. Because it's 1975, it's only been 4 years since homosexuality has been taken off the books as a psychiatric disorder. So the word lesbian disappears into the flames again for a few more years. But something lit up for me that night. Thank you.
All right, so now it's time for the final prize of the evening, and there are 5 finalists. The first is David C.C. Bourgeois for Full Fathom 5, published by Baraka Books. The second is Anne-Marie MacDonald for Fane, published by Knopf Canada. Then Sean Michaels for Do You Remember Being Born, published by Random House Canada. Vanessa R. Sasson for The Gathering, published by Equinox Publishing. And Caroline Vu for Katina Boulevard, published by Guernica Editions. The jurors this year were Joe Alleman, Chanel Sutherland, and Timothy Taylor. Presenting the prize will be Chanel Sutherland. Andreas Caceres will be representing Paragraphe Bookstore. All right. Andreas.
Hello. Last prize, almost there. All right. About Full Fathom 5, the jury wrote. Full Fathom 5 is a confident, masterful first novel. Literary mysteries, family mysteries, parallels in family history, parallels in Shakespearean works, family dynamics and the dynamics of academia, David C.C. Bourgeois structures a rich, completely believable story. It's a beautifully written page-turner. Bourgeois masterfully navigates shifts in time and place, effortlessly drawing readers into the parallel timelines that converge to unveil the secrets of Noah's family. As we delve into the work of Shakespearean scholarship and the tantalizing mystery of an ancient document, Bourgeois' prose shines, capturing the rhythms of his character's speech with wit and precision. About Fane, the jury wrote, Fane is not a mere pseudo-Victorian novel, though technically, and in its voice, it's perfect. It has the depth of language and the requisite convoluted Byzantine levels of plot of a Victorian novel. It has the feel of a Victorian novel, but freed of the strictures of class and gender that haunts even the best intended Victorian authors. MacDonald masterfully combines elements of science, magic, and Gothic intrigue to construct a world that is as beguiling as it is treacherous. The narrative navigates the complexities of gender roles with finesse, challenging conventional norms and reflecting the timeless struggle for self-discovery and autonomy. With over 700 pages, just gonna let that sit for a second, 700 pages, Fane may appear daunting, but MacDonald's storytelling prowess ensures that each page is a captivating revelation. About Do You Remember Being Born? The jury wrote, Do You Remember Being Born is a funny, smartly written, elegant, heartfelt examination of creativity, art, and the role and value of the artist. This is obviously a very timely book with its themes of AI and art, while the real world comes to terms with the possibility of AI being exploited by capitalism to the detriment of artists. Everything in the book rings true. Michael's prose is nothing short of exquisite, and he deftly captures the essence of Marianne's introspective voice, weaving a narrative that resonates deeply. The novel raises fundamental questions about the nature of art and the boundaries between human and artificial creativity. Sean Michaels has crafted a masterful narrative that challenges conventional notions of artistry and the potential of technology, making this novel a poignant and relevant read. About The Gathering, the jury wrote, The Gathering is a compelling and illuminating work that will enrich anyone's understanding of Buddhism's early history and the remarkable women who helped shape it. One of the standout qualities of this book is Sasson's meticulous research. She skillfully weaves together historical records, sacred scriptures, and other findings to construct a vivid and authentic narrative of the lives of these ancient women. What truly sets it apart is Sasson's ability to breathe life into her subject. She employs a storytelling approach that makes the historical accounts accessible and engaging. This book is a must-read for anyone interested in Buddhism, women's history, or the intersection of religion and society. About Katana Boulevard, the jury wrote, The novel's brilliance lies in Vu's extraordinary skill in placing the reader into intimate contact with her characters, as well as revealing the complexity of their situations even from a very young age. Vu's storytelling is enthralling. Her compassion is constant, and her eye is unwavering as the details of this richly layered novel unfold. Katana Boulevard is a mesmerizing journey through history and the human spirit. And if our popular consciousness have drifted from Vietnam in the years that have passed since the worst of the military conflict, you may find your attentions once again riveted at this braided story as this braided story unfolds, forced to meditate once again on all that Vietnam has I'm going to say that again because obviously I messed it up. You may find your attentions once again riveted at this braided story unfolds, forced to meditate once again on all that Vietnam has taught us, on all that we should never forget. Thank you.
Guess it's my turn now. I'm just wondering what's with all the smoke. I think Willie Nelson's backstage. It's appropriate that this prize should be the last one this evening because if this was the Academy Awards, this of course would be Best Picture. Guess that would make me Tom Cruise. Anyways, as always, thank you. The Paragraphe bookstore is very proud of its association with Quebec Writers Federation, very proud to be the official bookseller of the QWF Awards. All the books nominated are on sale out there, 10% off. Plug, plug. And of course, we are very proud to present the Paragraphe Hugh MacLennan Prize to Anne-Marie MacDonald for Fame.
This is a terrific honor, and it's been a wonderful evening, and it's unfolded in an organic way, in a really welcoming way, and I was just sitting there enjoying it and thinking, I'm in a room full of people who really care. Expression, writing, connection, and I think all of that is rooted in love. Nothing happens without that. Nothing gets imagined without that, and that's really the source of connection. And connection is what we're all doing in this room tonight, and that's what all of the artists and my fellow nominees and everybody here is celebrating connection and giving voice to something that is profound and that brings us all together. So I'm so proud, and I feel so very welcomed here. I moved here with my family just over 10 years ago, and I wrote Fane in Montreal as a Quebecer, and to be embraced and to be honored by my community and by the Quebec Writers Federation is a tremendous honor for me. I feel very welcome. I would love to thank Laurie and everybody at the QWF, and my dear friend Elise, with whom I connect before books. Before books were still a twinkle in my eye anyway. We were friends, and I have so much to be grateful for. So thank you, QWF. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, everybody. And Andreas and Paragraphe Books for sponsoring this tremendous honor. As well, you know, my publisher, Knopf Canada, my incomparable editor, Martha Canio-Forstner, and my thanks would be incomplete if I didn't mention my Quebec editor, Louise Loisel at Éditions Flammarion, and especially my translators. Which really completes the circle of family that we're talking about and that Katya spoke to so eloquently moments ago. I had the honor of presenting a prize several years ago to Paul Gagnon, who is one of my translators, who is my translator now, since the very tragic passing of his wife and my friend Laurie Saint-Martin, who was also a part of the translation team. Paul has single-handedly, and I know magnificently, translated Fane, and for that I'm also tremendously grateful. And my wife, Elisa Palmer. My wife and my artistic collaborator, and our beautiful children, who have spent some of their most formative years in Montreal, and we're so grateful for the community in which they've come to their young adulthood. And Chester. He is a gentleman in a gray flannel suit. He wears the same thing every day. It's made of fur. He is my dog companion. He companioned me through every moment of what could have been longer. So, Elisa, have I said everything I said I would say if on the slim chance that I might find myself up here tonight? Thank you. Now, there's one last thing I would like to add. What's that? Sorry, what did I hear? You just asked me if you said everything. I said yes. But I have one more thing. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, one more thing.
and I hope that everybody will receive it in the spirit of love and inclusion in which I intend it. Everyone knows this week that shots have been fired at a Jewish school in Montreal. And I'm not an organizer, so I don't feel like I can do anything about this. But I thought, wouldn't it be amazing, and if somebody invited me and everybody to go over to the school and hold hands and just be there all night, I think I would sign up for that in a heartbeat, because it's unacceptable. And my heart swells and breaks for what's going on here and all around the world. And gosh, if anyone wants to organize that, I'm bringing a lawn chair and a very warm coat, and I'll just stand there. Yeah? Yeah. Okay? Thank you so very, very much.
Well, this brings the awards part of the evening to a close, although, as several people have mentioned, this is a great community. There's a lot of lovely people here, so hang out, talk to some folks, maybe talk to somebody you don't know. Lori would like to invite all of the finalists up here so she can give them a certificate and a free QWF membership. So while all of the nominees are coming up here, why don't we just give them one last shout out of love. So come on up. So all of the books are available for sale in the lobby, and they'd all be happy if you bought. Come on, everybody, come up for your photos and your certificates. Don't be shy. And while they're coming up, I'm going to thank the unsung heroes of the evening. Oh, the party's starting. The 2023 Gala Committee, which was Tanya Belliumeur-Alat, Robin McFadden, Layla Marshy, Christine Martin, Afrina Noor, Riley Palanka, Gina Reutman, Laurie Schubert, Deb Van Slet, John Wickham, and a few additional volunteers, Brian Alat, Alex Augustine, Jesse Gandol, Sarah Haggard, Rachel McCrum, Greta Najafi, and Antolina Ortiz, and Deanna Radford, our vivacious prize presenter. So now you're free for the books or the bar. Have a wonderful rest of the evening.